First contact fallout. The vastness of space had always promised both wonder and terror. For centuries, humanity had gazed at the stars, wondering if they were alone. They built outposts on Mars, established colonies on Europa, and sent probes deeper into the void. Humanity had convinced themselves they were prepared for first contact. They were wrong. The Solarian Imperium had ruled 3 spiral arms of the galaxy for millennia. Their sleek bioengineered ships glided through dimensional rifts with the ease of fish in water. Their technology was so advanced that many species believed them to be gods. Their society, a perfect hierarchy built on genetic predestination and unwavering discipline, had conquered or subjugated over 300 sentient species. High Commander Zex Terrell stood on the bridge of the Imperial dreadnought Eternal Dominion. His 4 eyes narrowed as the holographic display showed him the blue-green planet. "Primitive," he said, his voice like gravel being crushed. "Another oxygen-breather world infested with bipeds. How tedious." His second, Sub-Commander Virenal, bowed slightly. "Initial scans show minimal orbital defenses, rudimentary fusion technology, and primitive information systems. They call themselves humans and their planet Earth. They've barely colonized their neighboring planet." Zex Terrell waved a 6-fingered hand dismissively. "Standard procedure. Send a harvester team to their outpost on the Red Planet. Assess their military capabilities, if any, and prepare for integration into the labor castes." "As you command," Virenal said, turning to relay the orders. Neither of them felt the slightest concern. It was, after all, just another routine conquest. Admiral Kira Chen stared at the emergency transmission from Mars Base Airs with growing horror. The outpost's commander, Colonel Jackson, was speaking rapidly, his face streaked with blood. "Came out of nowhere. Massive ships, technology we've never seen. They're not responding to any attempts at communication. Defenses are failing. For God's sake, send everything you've." The transmission cut to static. Admiral Chen turned to the stunned faces of Earth's Combined Defense Council. 20 of humanity's top military and civilian leaders sat around the conference table, pale with shock. "Ladies and gentlemen," Chen said, her voice steady despite the hammering of her heart, "it appears that first contact has occurred, and it is hostile. We need to act immediately." General Santos of the Pan-American Alliance shook his head. "Act how? If their technology can cross interstellar space, what chance do our ships have?" "Every chance," Chen replied firmly. "Because they don't know us. They don't know what humans do when cornered." President Okafor of the African Union stood. "Admiral Chen is right. Humanity has survived ice ages, plagues, world wars, and our own self-destructive tendencies. We will survive this. Admiral, what do you propose?" Chen activated the holographic display. "We have 3 battle groups that can reach Mars within 48 hours. I propose we send a rescue and reconnaissance force immediately. We need information about their capabilities. And if they destroy our ships," asked the European Federation's representative. Chen's eyes hardened. "Then we'll know exactly what we're dealing with." 4 hours later, Admiral Chen stood on the bridge of the UES Indomitable, Earth's newest battlecruiser. Around her, a fleet of 17 warships accelerated toward Mars, carrying the best weapons humanity had developed. Lieutenant Commander Rajiv Singh approached with a data tablet. "Admiral, long-range scans show 5 alien vessels orbiting Mars. Base Airs appears to be largely destroyed, but we're detecting scattered human life signs on the surface." "Survivors," Chen said, relief momentarily washing over her. "And only 5 ships. That's either arrogance or a reconnaissance force. Or their technology is so superior they only need 5. Singh added quietly. Chen nodded grimly. "Inform all ships. Weapons hot, but hold fire unless fired upon. Let's see if we can communicate first." But as the human fleet approached Mars orbit, the alien ships immediately changed formation, moving with a grace that seemed impossible for vessels of their size. "They're targeting us," the tactical officer reported. Energy signatures spiking. "Evasive maneuvers," Chen ordered, gripping her command chair as the ship lurched. "All ships, defensive protocols. Try to establish communication on all frequencies." The first alien energy beam lanced across space, slicing through the UES Dauntless as if it were made of paper. The destroyer exploded in silent agony, debris spinning away into the void. "Return fire," Chen commanded, rage and grief mixing in her chest. The human fleet unleashed everything they had: railguns, missiles, laser arrays. But most weapons seemed to dissipate harmlessly against the alien shields. "Their technology is decades beyond ours," Singh said, his voice tight with tension as another human vessel exploded. Chen watched the tactical display, her mind racing. Maybe. But technology isn't everything. Look at their attack pattern. It's perfectly coordinated, almost predictable. She tapped her console. "All ships, new formation. Pattern Hydra. Target the lead vessel's propulsion systems." The human fleet broke apart, regrouping in an asymmetrical pattern that seemed chaotic, but followed a complex algorithm Chen had developed years ago. The alien ship's perfect formation suddenly seemed rigid, unable to adapt quickly to the unpredictable movements. "They're confused," Singh said, surprise evident in his voice. "Their targeting efficiency is dropping." "Concentrated fire on target Alpha," Chen ordered. "Let's see how they handle imperfection." Human weapons fire converged on one alien vessel. Most energy was absorbed by shields, but where multiple weapon types hit simultaneously, brief flickering occurred. "There," Chen pointed. "They can't modulate their shields against diverse attack types simultaneously. All ships. Randomize weapon deployment." No patterns. What followed was the most chaotic space battle in human history. Instead of the orderly engagement the aliens expected, they faced a whirlwind of seemingly random attacks. Human ships fired, moved, and fired again from unexpected angles. When one approach failed, they immediately switched to another. Slowly, incredibly, the tide began to turn. Aboard the Eternal Dominion, High Commander Zex Terrell watched in disbelief as one of his scout ships exploded. "Impossible," he hissed. "These primitives should be no match for even our smallest vessel." Virenal worked frantically at the tactical console. "They're using irrational attack patterns, sir. The battle algorithms can't predict their movements." "They're animals," Zex Terrell snarled. "They have no discipline, no proper military doctrine. Use the pulse cannon." The massive weapon began charging, but before it could fire, 3 human missiles slipped through a momentary shield gap, detonating against the dreadnought's hull. Alarms wailed as Zex Terrell picked himself up from the floor. "Damage report." "Pulse cannon offline," an officer reported. "Shield generators at 60% efficiency." "Retreat," Zex Terrell ordered, his voice cold with fury. "We'll return with the main fleet." As the alien ships disengaged, employing technology that bent space around them, Admiral Chen ordered her fleet to hold position. "Don't pursue," she commanded. "Rescue the survivors on Mars and gather all the data you can from the wreckage. Both ours and theirs." Singh looked at her with newfound respect. "They'll be back, won't they?" Chen nodded grimly. "With everything they have. We've just made the worst first impression possible. We've shown them we can fight back." 3 weeks later, Earth was transformed. The threat of alien invasion had united humanity like nothing in history. Nations pooled resources, shared technology, and prepared for war. In a reinforced laboratory beneath the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Elias Morgan hunched over fragments of alien technology recovered from Mars. "It's incredible," he told Admiral Chen, who had come to check on his progress. "Their computer systems are organic synthetic hybrids, but the programming is surprisingly linear." "Meaning?" Chen asked. Morgan's eyes gleamed with excitement. "They're advanced, yes, but rigid. They build perfect systems that follow perfect rules. There's no redundancy, no chaos factor. It's like they've never heard of Murphy's Law. Chen leaned closer. Can we use that against them? Better, Morgan replied, pulling up a holographic display. We can integrate their technology with ours, but with human adaptability built in. We're already implementing reverse-engineered components into the new defensive systems. How long until? An aide burst into the room. Admiral, long-range sensors have detected a massive energy signature at the edge of the solar system. It's them, and they've brought an armada. Chen straightened, her face set with determination. How long do we have? At their current speed, 3 days. She nodded. Then we have 3 days to become more dangerous than they can imagine. She turned to Morgan. Finish your work, Doctor. Humanity's survival depends on it. As she strode from the laboratory, Chen's mind was already formulating plans, contingencies, and backup strategies. The aliens thought they were facing simple primitives. They were about to learn that they had provoked the deadliest species in the galaxy, one that had evolved not through perfection, but through endless adaptation to adversity. High Commander Zex Terrell would soon discover the galaxy's fatal mistake. They had challenged humanity to fight for its existence, and nothing in the universe was more dangerous than humans with their backs against the wall. The awakening of Terra. The Grand Council chamber of the Galactic Conclave buzzed with anxious voices. Representatives of 17 advanced civilizations gathered under the pale blue light of artificial stars, their conversations a cacophony of clicks, whistles, and translated speech. Elder Moxfall of the Praxian Collective raised his crystalline appendages for silence. We must address the Exilarian aggression against the newly discovered species in the Oran Spur. High Diplomat Sexferal, cousin to the Imperium's High Commander, rose with practiced dignity. The Exilarian Imperium requires no permission to integrate primitive species. These humans attacked our scientific expedition without provocation. Ambassador Krell of the ancient Duraxian Republic made a sound like grinding gears, their equivalent of derisive laughter. Scientific expedition. Your warships destroyed their outpost and engaged their defensive fleet. The recordings have been shared across subspace networks. Doctored propaganda, Zexferal dismissed. Regardless, the Imperium has dispatched appropriate forces to handle the situation. The matter is closed. Elder Moxfell's crystalline form pulsed with concerned light patterns. I fear it is not. Our predictive matrices indicate these humans possess unusual adaptive capabilities. The Conclave should consider intervention before. Before what? Zexferal interrupted. Before we add another useful labor species to our glorious Imperium. Your concern is noted but unnecessary. As the debate continued, none noticed the small observer drone hovering in the shadows, a technological miracle smuggled into the chamber by the mysterious Sentinel Collective, the galaxy's oldest and most reclusive civilization. They alone knew what the others had yet to discover, that Earth was not what it seemed, and humanity's potential had been grossly underestimated. On Earth, the 3-day countdown to invasion had become humanity's finest hour. In manufacturing plants across the planet, workers operated around the clock, integrating reverse-engineered alien technology with human ingenuity. Orbital defense platforms that had been theoretical designs weeks ago now floated in space, their strange hybrid architecture a testament to humanity's ability to adapt and improve upon foreign concepts. Admiral Chen stood in the Global Defense Command Center beneath Geneva, watching as thousands of holographic markers represented Earth's hastily assembled defense network. Status report, she demanded, her voice hoarse from days without proper rest. General Santos pointed to the main display. Orbital defenses at 87% capacity. The lunar railgun batteries are online. Fleet strength at 143 vessels, though most are retrofitted civilian ships. And Project Lazarus. Dr. Morgan stepped forward, looking both exhausted and exhilarated. We've achieved neural integration with the recovered alien systems. The interface network is functioning at 98% efficiency. Chen nodded. And the volunteers. All 300 pilots are synchronized with their ships. The neural link is stable, allowing reaction times beyond normal human capability. Morgan hesitated. But I must emphasize, Admiral, this technology was never meant to be weaponized so quickly. The long-term effects on the pilots are unknown. Noted, Doctor. But right now, survival takes precedence over caution. Chen turned to the command staff. The Xilarian Armada will reach Earth orbit in 6 hours. All personnel to battle stations. Initiate dispersal protocol. As the command center erupted into controlled urgency, President Okafor approached Chen privately. Admiral, the Security Council has authorized Protocol Omega if all else fails. Chen's expression remained neutral, but her eyes betrayed her surprise. Madam President, Protocol Omega is theoretical. We've never tested. It's been tested, Okafor interrupted softly. Just not in living memory. The activation codes have been transferred to your command authorization. Use them only if Earth faces imminent destruction. Before Chen could question further, Okafor walked away, leaving the Admiral with troubling questions about what last resort humanity might possess that even she hadn't been briefed on. High Commander Zex Terrell surveyed the approaching blue-green planet with anticipation. Around his flagship, 200 vessels of the Imperium's Grand Fleet moved in perfect formation, the largest military force assembled in 3 centuries. The primitives have been busy, Virenal observed, indicating the defensive constructions now orbiting Earth. Zex Terrell made a dismissive gesture, desperate improvisation. Their technology is still centuries behind ours, even with whatever they scavenged from our scout ships. Yet they defeated 5 of our vessels with their primitive technology. Virenal reminded him cautiously. The High Commander's skin flushed dark with irritation. A temporary aberration. Our battle computers have now adapted to their chaotic tactics. This time, we will be methodical, systematic. Their extinction will serve as an example to all who resist the Imperium. The massive fleet approached Earth's defensive perimeter with overwhelming confidence. Humanity's hastily assembled defenses seemed paltry in comparison to the sleek biological mechanical perfection of Xilarian warships. All vessels, commence firing sequence, Zex Terrell commanded. Target their orbital platforms first, then their lunar installations. The space around Earth erupted with energy as hundreds of Xilarian weapons discharged simultaneously. The first wave hit Earth's defensive shields and dissipated in spectacular cascades of redirected energy. Impossible, Zex Terrell hissed. How did they adapt our shield technology so quickly? On the tactical display, Earth's defenses began returning fire. But instead of the predictable patterns that Xilarians had expected, each human installation seemed to operate independently, targeting different ships with varying weapon types in a chaotic symphony of destruction. Their attack algorithms make no sense, Virenal said, confusion evident in her voice. There's no central command structure we can identify. Because there wasn't one. Dr. Morgan's neural interface system had linked human pilots directly to their ships and weapon systems, allowing them to operate on instinct rather than pre-programmed battle logic. Each defender thought and reacted as individuals, creating an unpredictable defensive network that the Xilarian battle computers struggled to counter. Admiral Chen watched the battle unfold from the command center, her expression grim but determined. Activate the Lazarus Squadron. From concealed hangars on the dark side of the moon, 300 sleek vessels emerged, hybrid craft combining Xilarian technology with human design principles. Inside each, a pilot lay in a neural cradle, their minds directly interfaced with their ships. They didn't fly their vessels, they became them. The squadron moved with impossible speed and coordination, weaving through the Xilarian formation like water through rocks. Where Xilarian ships moved with mathematical precision, the human vessels danced with artistic unpredictability. Their efficiency is remarkable, Dr. Morgan said, watching the neural feedback data. The pilots are achieving integration levels beyond our predictions. On the main display, a Xilarian dreadnought exploded, its perfect design vulnerable to the human tactic of targeting specific structural weaknesses in rapid succession from multiple angles. "We're hurting them," General Santos said with grim satisfaction. "But they still outnumber us 5-1. Chen nodded, her eyes never leaving the tactical display. "We don't need to defeat their entire fleet. We just need to make the cost of victory too high." Aboard the Eternal Dominion, chaos reigned as systems failed across the ship. 3 decks had been breached, and the perfect hierarchical command structure was showing signs of strain under unexpected pressure. "How are they doing this?" Zex Terrell demanded, watching as another Imperial cruiser succumbed to the human attack. "They were primitives weeks ago." "Sir," a communications officer interrupted, "we're detecting a massive energy surge from the planet's surface. Something is activating across multiple continental locations simultaneously." Vironel's analysis came quickly. "The energy signature doesn't match any known human technology. It's ancient, but incredibly powerful." On the view screen, strange structures began to emerge from beneath Earth's oceans, deserts, and ice caps. Massive technological constructs that had clearly lain dormant for millennia. "What trickery is this?" Zex Terrell breathed. In the command center, Admiral Chen was equally surprised. "What am I looking at, people?" No one answered immediately. Then President Okafor stepped forward, her face solemn. "Protocol Omega," she said simply. "Earth's last defense, left behind by those who came before us." "I don't understand," Chen said, watching as massive structures continued to rise around the globe. "Humanity isn't native to Earth," Admiral Okafor explained quietly. "Or rather, not entirely. Over 20,000 years ago, our ancestors were refugees from a cosmic war that makes this conflict look like a border skirmish. They integrated with Earth's early hominids, hiding their technology and burying their past to start anew." Chen stared in disbelief. "And this information was kept secret from everyone." "Only 12 people on the planet knew at any given time," Okafor said. "Passed from leader to leader throughout history. The Sentinel Protocol was created to awaken Earth's defensive systems only if our extinction became imminent." On the main display, the ancient structures were now fully emerged. Massive technological spires that pulsed with energy unlike anything modern humanity had created. "What happens now?" Chen asked. Her answer came as a global energy field emanated from the structures, expanding rapidly to envelop the entire planet. Where it touched Silurian ships, their biomechanical systems simply shut down, disabled by technology designed to counter weapons far more advanced than anything the Imperium possessed. In the Grand Council chamber of the Galactic Conclave, alarms sounded as subspace communications from the Sol system went silent. The assembled representatives watched in shock as partial sensor data showed the Exilarian fleet drifting powerless around Earth. Elder Moxthal's crystalline form dimmed with concern. "The Guardian technology has awakened. After all this time." "What do you mean, Guardian technology?" demanded Zex Veril, his usual composure shattered. From the shadows, a new figure emerged, tall, wrapped in metallic fabric that seemed to absorb light. The representatives fell silent as the observer from the Sentinel Collective finally spoke. "Earth was never an ordinary world," the figure said, its voice resonating strangely. "It was a sanctuary, protected by technologies your civilizations have yet to comprehend. The humans were not meant to reawaken this knowledge so soon. The Exilarian aggression has forced an acceleration of the Great Plan." "What plan?" Elder Moxthal asked. "The return of the Guardians," the Sentinel replied simply. "Humanity is their descendant race, modified, hidden, but carrying their legacy. Today, they have remembered a fraction of their inheritance. Tomorrow, they rejoin the galactic community not as primitives, but as the heirs to the civilization that once protected this galaxy from threats you cannot imagine." 3 days after the battle, Admiral Chen stood with President Okafor at the edge of one of the activated structures. A massive spire rising from the Sahara Desert, its surface covered in symbols no human language could translate. The Solarians have withdrawn to the edge of the system, Chen reported. Their ships are operational again, but they're making no aggressive moves. Okafor nodded. And Dr. Morgan's team? Making progress deciphering the technology. It's like nothing we've ever seen, yet somehow familiar to us on a genetic level. Chen hesitated. Madam President, are we really descendants of some advanced alien civilization? Not descendants, Okafor corrected gently. We are them, Admiral. Changed by time and circumstance, but carrying their essence. The structures aren't responding to us as allies or children. They recognize us as their creators, separated by millennia of dormancy. Chen looked up at the massive spire, trying to comprehend the implications. So what happens now? Now, Okafor said, we must prepare for a much larger stage. The galaxy has noticed us, for better or worse. The Sentinels have made contact, offering to guide our reintegration into galactic society. And the Exolarians. Okafor smiled grimly. They've requested diplomatic talks. It seems we've earned their respect, if not their friendship. As the sun set behind the ancient structure, casting long shadows across the desert, Chen reflected on how quickly everything had changed. 3 weeks ago, humanity had been alone in the universe, focused on their own petty conflicts. Now they stood revealed as the inheritors of a legacy beyond imagination, with both the promise and burden that came with such power. The galaxy had made one critical mistake. They had challenged the deadliest species alive, not because humans were inherently violent, but because they possessed something far more dangerous, the ability to adapt, to evolve, and to remember who they truly were when pushed to the brink of extinction. And now, awakened from their long slumber, humanity would reshape the stars.